The second philosopher and philosophy I chose to focus on Louise labe. For historical context, Louise labe was born in 16th century French Renaissance in Lyon, and Lyon was at the crossroads of the French and Italian Renaissance. So it developed a sense of cultural freedom that was constantly pushed by new ideas that were able to freely circle within society. This is due for many reasons, the main one being that it's far away from the Sorbonne and the repressive scholastic authority that was happening at Paris at this time. Lyon also did not have to pay taxes, and they were known for hosting large annual market fairs. So it was a very rich and flourishing city. Louise labe, she was born in 1524 into the family of rope makers. So she was born into a poor family and then later marrying into the same occupation. She was at the bottom or near the bottom of the social class. She was inspired by Guillette's Reims that were published in 1545. In her preface by Antoine de Moulin, it calls to the women of Lyon to come together, to all work together for the future success and the greater glory of their city. Labe was always enthralled by the success of female authors that were before her time, and she often wondered how they were able to become so celebrated within the constraints that had restricted women's education. She very quickly establishes anger towards the men of her time, and she believes that women could have become and accomplished so much more if they weren't constrained by the oppressions of men. At the time when Louise labe did publish her works, women's education was used only to improve morals or courtly love, so more feminine ideas of the time, and they weren't about liberal arts or sciences, the things that the men studied. Louise labe herself thought that women's education was bookish, romanticizing love type of thing. Instead, she favored ideas of fame and freedom that men of her time were able to accomplish. And then in 1555, she published her works. Her works immediately opens up with a letter apologizing for the standard of women's education at the time. And in this letter, she establishes the importance of education for women. And she believes that through exercises such as writing, self-expression, reading, and discussions about oneself, a woman is able to find lasting fulfillment within themselves. She also desires that women climb the social ladder. She also hopes women want to read and write in order to become more respectful and powerful in society. Labe's feminism sends out of a humanistic concern with the individual, recognizing that individuals are full of both flaws and potential, not saying one was worse than the others. What she tries to do through her poems is she tries to establish a sense of a community among women. So when you read her poems, women especially are very easily to identify with it. She uses 3 different narration styles. She uses those of herself as a speaker, an old unnamed woman, and the great Samarias, who is very famous in mythology for the woman's desire to learn and grow about themselves. So her essential theme of the sonnets is that the suffering endured by female is unrealistic dreams of love, and that a woman never really actually meets a man who can reciprocate her love or help her in society. And the sonnets demonstrate how one's self-autonomy in a woman propels the woman onto a path where she doesn't have control, and she only sees images of fake happiness and false education. Louise labe is very controversial today. There are major debates, just as we have in English, about Shakespeare, if she was even a real woman, if she was real at all. There are many debates about if it was a group of men publishing under her name. It was an exercise of mockery towards women at the time. So it's very important to study Louise labe since she was one of the like original females, especially in the Western world, to reach out and say like this isn't right, that women deserve more, and it is like the man's fault that woman is here, which later develops into Simone de Beauvoir's argument that men always see themselves as first and women as second. So yes, she's very important to study, especially in feminism.